The maintenance tunnels beneath Orbital Station Kronos 7 smelled like oil and recycled air. Hana moved through them with practiced silence, her boots making no sound on metal grating. She carried her toolkit in one hand and her datapad in the other. The datapad was old, its screen cracked in one corner, but it was her voice. It was the only way she could talk to anyone. Above her, thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds walked the bright corridors of the station. They bought and sold goods, made deals, started wars, and ended them. Down here, in the dark spaces between the walls, Hana fixed broken pipes and faulty wiring. Nobody ever looked at her twice. Nobody ever asked her name. That was exactly how she wanted it. Her datapad buzzed. A work order. Someone's air filter was broken in Section D. Hana tapped the screen to accept it and started walking. She knew every tunnel, every shaft, every hidden space in this station. She had studied them for 3 months, since the day she learned he would be coming here. Commander Vex of the Draxel Empire. The name made her hands shake. She stopped walking and pressed her palm against the cool metal wall until the shaking stopped. She had learned to control her body years ago. Fear was useful only if you could channel it. Tai Yang had taught her that, back on Earth, back when she was still just a broken child who couldn't speak. Hana climbed a ladder and emerged into a service closet on level 12. Through the door, she could hear the announcement echoing through the station. Commander Vex would be arriving in 2 hours. There would be protests, of course. Human groups would wave signs and shout about justice. The Galactic Council would ignore them, just like always. Vex had diplomatic immunity. He couldn't be touched. That's what they thought. Hana fixed the air filter in 20 minutes. The Manthari merchant who owned the shop barely glanced at her. He just pressed his thumbprint to her datapad to confirm the work was done. She bowed slightly and left, invisible as always. She made her way to the observation deck on level 30. It was crowded with beings watching the docking procedures. A massive Draxel warship was approaching, black and sharp like a knife. Hana stood at the back of the crowd, her face blank, her eyes tracking everything. The ship docked. The airlock opened. Vex emerged surrounded by 12 bodyguards, all of them armed with plasma rifles. He was tall for a Draxel, with 4 arms and gray-scaled skin. His eyes were yellow and cold. Hana had seen those eyes before, in her nightmares, in her memories. She had been 7 years old, hiding in a ventilation shaft, watching him give the order that killed everyone she loved. Murderer, someone shouted from the crowd. A human man, young and angry. Station security grabbed him before he could get close. Vex didn't even look. He smiled and waved at the cameras as if he were a hero, not a war criminal. Hana watched him disappear into the diplomatic section. Then she turned and walked away. She had work to do. That night, 3 of Vex's bodyguards went missing. The first one vanished from a storage corridor at 0200 hours. The second disappeared from a bathroom at 0330. The third was found unconscious in a cargo bay at 0445, with no memory of how he got there. Station security searched everywhere. They found nothing. No fingerprints, no DNA, no footage that showed anything useful. Just 3 missing guards and a lot of questions. Deho, the station administrator, watched the security footage for the 5th time. He was a middle-aged human with tired eyes and gray hair. He had worked on Kronos 7 for 15 years. He had seen a lot of strange things, but this was different. 3 trained Draxel soldiers didn't just vanish. Run it again, he told his security chief. There has to be something, but there wasn't. The cameras showed empty corridors. The sensors showed nothing unusual. It was like a ghost had done it. In the maintenance tunnels, Hana sat in a small alcove she had claimed as her own. She ate a simple meal of rice and vegetables while she studied her datapad. On the screen was everything she knew about Vex's schedule, his habits, his security protocols. She had been gathering this information for 5 years, ever since she started hunting. Vex was her 19th target. 18 war criminals had died or disappeared because of her. The galaxy thought it was different people, different groups. They didn't know it was one small human woman who never spoke a word. She unfolded a piece of paper from her pocket. It was old and soft from being handled too many times. On it was a picture of 2 people smiling at the camera. Her parents. Behind them was the colony of New Inshin, beautiful and green and alive. That world was ash now. Everyone in that picture was dead. Everyone except her Hana folded the paper carefully and put it away. Then she picked up a small square of paper and began folding it into a crane. Her fingers moved automatically through the familiar pattern. Fold, crease, fold again. It was meditation. It was memory. It was a promise. She finished the crane and set it beside 11 others. 1 for each of Vex's remaining guards. When they were all gone, she would fold 1 more. That one would be for Vex himself. Her datapad buzzed. Another work order. A broken water pipe on level 8. Hannah stood up, gathered her tools, and climbed back into the tunnels. To anyone watching, she was just the maintenance girl. The mute one who fixed things and never caused trouble. They had no idea they were watching the most dangerous human in the galaxy. Vex sat in his luxury suite, surrounded by his remaining guards. He was angry. 3 of his soldiers, gone in one night. It was an insult. It was a challenge. He had been a commander for 30 years. He had conquered 17 worlds. He would not be intimidated on some civilian station. Double the patrols, he ordered. Check everyone who enters this section. I want to know who did this. His guards saluted and moved to obey. Vex poured himself a drink and stared out the window at the stars. He thought about Earth, about the weak humans who protested him, but could do nothing to stop him. They talked about justice and law, but they had no power. They were soft. They were nothing in the walls around him. Hana crawled through a ventilation shaft, silent as death, patient as time. She had all the time in the world. Vex had nowhere to run. The hunt had begun. A memory came to Hana in pieces, the way it always did. She was 7 years old again, crouched in the darkness of the ventilation shaft. Outside, she could hear screaming. Her mother's voice was calling her name. Then the voice stopped. Then there was only fire and smoke and the sound of weapons. Hana opened her eyes. She was in the present, in her small sleeping space in the maintenance section. Sweat covered her face. She reached for her water bottle and drank slowly, willing her heart to slow down. The nightmares never stopped. She had learned to live with them. She checked her chronometer. It was 0500 hours. Time to work. Tai Yang had found her 3 months after the massacre. She had been in a hospital on Mars, a thin ghost of a child who wouldn't eat or sleep or speak. The doctors said her vocal cords were fine. The trauma had locked her voice away somewhere deep inside, somewhere she couldn't reach anymore. Tai Yang was different from the doctors. He was an old soldier, retired from Earth's special forces. He had fought in the colony wars. He had lost people too. He looked at 7-year-old Hana and saw something the others missed. Not a broken child, but a survivor. Not a victim, but a hunter waiting to be born. You don't need to talk, he had told her, using sign language she would later learn. Warriors can be silent. Sometimes silence is the best weapon. He took her to his home in the mountains of Korea. For 10 years, he trained her. Not just fighting, though she learned that too. He taught her to watch, to wait, to see patterns that others missed. He taught her to move through spaces like water, to become invisible even when people were looking right at her. "The galaxy thinks humans are weak," Taiyang said. "Let them think it. It makes them careless." Hana finished dressing and gathered her tools. Today she had work orders in the diplomatic section. She had made sure of that. Station maintenance schedules were easy to manipulate if you knew how. Vex's remaining guards were nervous. She could see it in the way they moved, the way they checked their weapons every few minutes. 2 more had disappeared last night. One from his patrol route, one from the guard station itself. Station security had sealed off the entire diplomatic wing, but it hadn't helped. Hana walked past them carrying a box of replacement light panels. They looked at her for half a second, then looked away. A small human maintenance worker. Not a threat. Not even interesting. She installed the light panels slowly, carefully. While she worked, she studied everything. Guard positions, camera angles, weak points in their security grid. She had already mapped the air ducts and service tunnels. Now she needed to understand their patrol patterns. A guard walked past her, his plasma rifle ready. He was young, probably on his first off-world assignment. He glanced at Hana nervously. "You," he said in broken standard language. "You see anything strange? Anyone suspicious?" Hana pulled out her datapad and typed, "No, sir. Just fixing lights." The guard read it and nodded. "Okay, be careful. There is danger." She bowed her head respectfully and went back to work. The guard moved on. He would be dead by morning. She had already decided. Agent Minji arrived on the station that afternoon. She was from the Interstellar Justice Commission, a tall woman with sharp eyes and sharper instincts. She had been investigating the mysterious disappearances of war criminals across the galaxy for 2 years. 18 cases, all unsolved. All had one thing in common. The victims had all committed crimes against human colonies. She studied the files on her datapad as her ship docked. 3 guards missing in 2 nights. No evidence. No witnesses. And now Vex was hiding in his suite, surrounded by his remaining soldiers, afraid of shadows. It was the same pattern. Always the same pattern. Minji had a theory. Everyone thought it was a group, maybe a human special operations team. But the more she studied the cases, the more she thought it was one person. One very skilled, very patient person who had been doing this for years. She needed to find them before they killed Vex, not because she cared about Vex. The man was a monster who deserved to die. But if he died here, under diplomatic protection, it could start a war. The Draxel Empire would demand justice. Earth would be blamed. Thousands could die. Minji checked into station housing and immediately went to meet Dae-ho. The administrator looked exhausted. "Any progress?" she asked. Dae-ho shook his head. "Nothing. It's like fighting a ghost. My security team can't find anything." "What about the maintenance workers? Anyone new?" "We have 43 maintenance staff." "I can send you the list," Minji nodded. "Do it. I want background checks on everyone who has access to the diplomatic section." That night, Hana made her move. She entered the ventilation system at 0200 hours, crawling through shafts that were barely wide enough for her body. She had practiced this route 5 times. She knew exactly where every camera was, exactly where the motion sensors couldn't reach. The young guard she had seen earlier was on patrol in Corridor 7. He was alone. That was his first mistake. His second mistake was not checking the ceiling. Hannah dropped behind him, silent as a shadow. Before he could turn, she had him in a sleeper hold. He struggled for exactly 8 seconds, then went limp. She dragged him into a service closet and tied him up with plastic restraints. Then she took a small paper crane from her pocket and placed it on his chest. One more down. 6 guards left. She moved through the diplomatic section like smoke. The cameras never saw her. The sensors never detected her. She had studied the security system for months. She knew every blind spot, every flaw, every weakness. By 0400 hours, 2 more guards were unconscious in locked storage rooms. 3 more cranes left behind. Minji couldn't sleep. She sat in her room studying the personnel files Daho had sent. 43 names. 43 faces. Most of them had been working on the station for years. A few were new. One caught her eye. Lee Hana, human female, age 22. Employed as a maintenance technician for 3 months. Previous employment: various stations and colonies, never staying anywhere longer than 6 months. Before that, nothing. No records before age 17. Minji pulled up the security footage from the diplomatic section. She watched maintenance workers come and go. Most of them were large aliens who could carry heavy equipment. Then she saw her. A small human woman with dark hair pulled back in a simple tail. She carried a toolkit and a datapad. She never looked at the cameras. She moved with complete confidence, like she belonged there. Minji watched the woman work. There was something about the way she moved, smooth, efficient, not like a maintenance worker. Like a soldier. She pulled up more footage, tracking the woman through the station. The timestamps were interesting. The woman had been near every location where a guard disappeared within an hour of each incident. Always there, always invisible, always just doing her job. Minji felt a chill. She pulled up everything she could find on Lee Hana. Not much. Just work records and a registry entry. No social media, no friends, no life outside of work. And then she found it. A news article from 15 years ago about the survivors of New Incheon. One survivor, a 7-year-old girl named Lee Hana, who had been found in the ventilation system after the massacre. A girl who hadn't spoken since. Minji stood up and grabbed her jacket. She needed to find this woman right now, but in the maintenance tunnels, Hana was already moving. 3 guards left. Then Vex. Soon it would be over. Soon she could rest. Vex's remaining 3 guards had barricaded themselves in the command center with their commander. They had set up motion sensors, thermal scanners, and every security device the station could provide. Outside the door stood 4 station security officers. Nothing could get in. Nothing could get out. That's what they thought. Hana sat in a small space between the walls, 2 meters from where Vex was hiding. She had been there for 3 hours, not moving, barely breathing. She could hear them talking through the thin panel. Vex was angry. He was shouting at someone over the communication system, demanding that his ship be prepared for immediate departure. He was running. Good. Scared prey. Made mistakes. But then something changed. Hana heard new voices. Crying. Someone begging. She pressed her ear closer to the panel. You want to find your ghost? Vex was saying. Fine. Bring me 10 station workers. Maintenance staff. I will execute 1 every hour until whoever is doing this comes forward. Hana's blood went cold. You can't do that. Daeho's voice came through the speaker. Those are innocent people. You have diplomatic immunity, but this is murder. It is self-defense, Vex replied. Someone is attacking my guards. I am protecting myself. Bring me the workers, or I start with my guards shooting randomly into your station. Your choice, Administrator. Silence. Then Daeho's defeated voice. Give me 20 minutes. Hana closed her eyes. This wasn't supposed to happen. Innocent people weren't supposed to die. Her targets were war criminals, murderers, people who had escaped justice. Not civilians. Not workers just trying to survive. She thought of Taiyang. What would he say? He had taught her to be patient, to be careful, to never let emotions control her actions. But he had also taught her something else. He had taught her that some things were worth breaking your own rules for. She pulled out her datapad and started typing a message. Minji was running through the station corridors when her datapad buzzed. An unknown message. She opened it while running. Agent Minji, I know you are looking for me. I am Lee Hana. I am the one hunting Vex. Tell Daiho not to bring the hostages. I will stop this. But you need to see what I see. Check camera feed D7. Timestamp 2100 hours, 5 years ago. The truth is there. Minji stopped running. She pulled up the old camera feed from 5 years ago, from a different station where another war criminal had died. The feed showed a maintenance corridor. Empty. Nothing unusual. Then, for just 3 seconds, a figure moved across the screen. Small, fast, barely visible. A young woman with a toolkit and a datapad. The same woman who was on this station right now. Minji made a decision. She called Daiho. Don't bring the hostages. Give me 30 minutes. I don't have 30 minutes, Daiho said. Vex is serious. He will start killing people. Trust me. Just 30 minutes. She ran toward the diplomatic section. If Hana was planning something, Minji needed to be there. This could go very wrong very fast. Inside the command center, Vex checked his chronometer. Time is up. Where are my hostages? His remaining guards looked nervous. One of them, a veteran named Cross, spoke carefully. Commander, perhaps we should just leave. Our ship is ready. I will not run from some invisible coward, Vex snapped. I am Commander Vex of the Draxel Empire. I do not hide. I do not retreat. Then the lights went out. Emergency lights kicked in, bathing everything in red. The guards raised their weapons, scanning every corner. The motion sensors showed nothing. The thermal scanners showed nothing. Report, Vex ordered. All sensors clear, Commander, Cross said. Nothing is. The ceiling panel above him exploded downward. Hana dropped into the room like a falling star. She hit the floor and rolled, and by the time the guards could turn their weapons, she was already moving. She wasn't hiding anymore. Wasn't invisible. She was done with shadows. Her body moved like water, like wind, like nothing they had ever seen. She disarmed the first guard in 2 seconds, using his own momentum to throw him into the wall. The second guard fired, but she was already behind him, and his shot hit the ceiling instead. She swept his legs, and he fell hard. Cross was better. He was a veteran. He tracked her movement and fired where she would be, not where she was. But Hana had fought veterans before. She slid under his shot and came up inside his guard, her elbow striking his throat. He gasped and fell. 3 guards down in 15 seconds. Vex pulled his own weapon, a heavy plasma pistol. He pointed it at Hana, his forearm steady. So you are the ghost. One small human girl. I should have known. Your kind never knows when to accept defeat. Hana said nothing. She never said anything. She just looked at him with eyes that held 15 years of pain and rage and patience. You cannot kill me, Vex continued. If I die, it means war. The Draxel Empire will burn Earth to ash. Is that what you want? More death? More colonies destroyed? Hana pulled out her datapad and typed with one hand, never taking her eyes off him. She turned the screen toward him. New engine. You killed 12,000 people. My parents. My friends. Everyone I loved. You did it because you could. Because we were weak. Because no one would stop you. Vex laughed. It was war. People die in war. That is the nature of the universe. Hana typed again. Not war. Murder. You killed civilians. Children. You did it for fun. Prove it, Vex said. Oh wait, you cannot. There is no evidence, no witnesses, just the word of a mute little girl against a decorated commander. Hannah's finger moved on her datapad. Behind Vex, a screen activated. Video footage began to play. It showed New Inchin, 15 years ago. It showed Draxel soldiers rounding up civilians. It showed Vex giving orders. It showed the massacre. Where did you get that? Vex's voice was no longer confident. Hannah typed. I was there. I recorded everything from the ventilation shaft. I have carried this with me for 15 years. Every moment. Every death. I have never forgotten. The door exploded inward. Station security poured in, followed by Minji. They saw the 3 guards on the ground, saw Hannah standing there with her datapad, saw Vex with his weapon. Drop your weapons, the security chief ordered. Both of you. Vex pointed at Hannah. She attacked us. Arrest her. Minji stepped forward. She had been watching the screen, watching the footage of New Inchin. That video. Is it real? Hannah nodded. She typed on her datapad and sent the file to Minji's device. Minji watched it. Her face went pale. The footage was clear. It was undeniable. It was evidence that Vex had committed war crimes, evidence that should have been presented years ago. Why didn't you show this before? Minji asked Hannah. Hannah typed, because the Galactic Council would bury it. They would call it fake. They would protect him because politics matters more than justice. I learned that truth a long time ago. So you took justice into your own hands. Hannah met her eyes and nodded. Minji looked at Vex. Then at the video, then at Hannah. She made a decision that could cost her everything. Commander Vex, you are under arrest for war crimes. Your diplomatic immunity is void in the presence of direct evidence. You have no authority, Vex snarled. Actually, I do. Interstellar Justice Commission, Article 12. War crimes override all diplomatic protections. She looked at the security team. Take him into custody. Vex raised his weapon. I will not be taken by. Hannah moved. One moment she was standing still. The next she was beside Vex, her hand striking his wrist. The weapon fell. She swept his legs, and he crashed to the floor. All 4 arms pinned beneath him. Station security rushed forward and restrained him. As they dragged him away, Vex looked at Hannah with pure hatred. This is not over. My empire will come for you. For all of you. Hannah picked up her datapad and typed one final message. She showed it to him as they pulled him through the door. Let them come. I will be waiting. Then he was gone, and Hannah stood alone in the red emergency lights, surrounded by people who finally saw her. Not as a maintenance worker. Not as a mute girl. As what she really was. A hunter. A ghost. A promise kept. The news spread across the galaxy in hours. Commander Vex arrested. A human woman, mute and small, had hunted him through a space station like prey. The video footage from New Inchin went viral. The Galactic Council called emergency sessions. The Draxel Empire demanded Hannah's head. And Vex escaped. It happened during the transfer to a high-security prison ship. Someone helped him. Someone with power and money. The transport was found drifting in space, the guards dead, Vex gone. He fled straight into Draxel territory, where human law couldn't touch him. Minji came to find Hannah in the maintenance tunnels 3 days later. Hannah was packing her few belongings into a small bag. She knew what was coming. You're going after him, Minji said. It wasn't a question. Hannah nodded. She typed on her datapad. He will hide in the Empire. Protected, safe, unless someone goes there to find him. That's suicide. The Draxel Empire hates humans. They will kill you on sight. They have to see me first. Minji sat down on an old crate. I should arrest you. You're a vigilante. You've killed 18 people. War criminals. Murderers. People your justice system let go free. That doesn't make it legal. Hannah looked at her steadily and typed. Does it make it wrong? Minji was quiet for a long moment. Then she pulled out a data chip. This has everything we know about Vex's location. His fortress estate on Draxel Prime. Security layouts. Guard rotations. Everything. Why are you helping me? Because you're right. The system is broken. I have spent 10 years watching monsters walk free because of politics and bureaucracy. Maybe it's time someone fixed it. She stood up. But Hannah, listen to me. This isn't like the other times. The Draxel Empire is dangerous. They will be hunting for you. You need to be more careful than you've ever been. Hannah almost smiled. She typed, I am always careful. 2 weeks later, Hannah walked through the crowded streets of Draxel Prime, wearing the gray uniform of a contract laborer. Humans were rare here, but not unknown. The Empire imported workers for jobs their own people wouldn't do. Cleaning, maintenance, serving food. Invisible jobs for invisible people. Perfect. She had papers identifying her as Yuna, a contract worker from Earth. The papers were fake, but good. Daho had made them for her before she left. He hadn't said anything, just handed her the documents and a small bag of credits. His eyes said everything he couldn't. The Draxel Empire was beautiful and terrible. Tall spires reached into purple skies. Ships flew overhead in perfect formations. Everything was clean and ordered and controlled. But under that beauty was something cold. The Draxel believed they were superior to all other species. Humans especially were seen as weak, barely worth noticing. Hannah had counted. On that dot, she found work in a factory near Vex's estate. The factory processed metals for ship construction. The work was hard, and the hours were long, but she didn't care. She was there to learn, to watch, to prepare. At night, in the cramped worker housing, she studied everything she could find about Vex's fortress. The place was massive, surrounded by walls and guard towers. Security drones patrolled the perimeter constantly. Only authorized personnel could enter, and everyone was scanned. But every fortress had weaknesses. Every system had flaws. She just needed to find them. What she didn't know was that she was being watched. Admiral Kyne of the Draxel Imperial Navy had been studying the footage from Chronos 7 for weeks. He was fascinated by what he saw. A human, moving with speed and precision that shouldn't be possible for their species. Taking down trained soldiers like they were children. And most interesting, doing it all in complete silence. He had run analysis on every frame of the video, calculated her reaction times, her combat patterns, her decision-making process. Then he had started looking at the other cases, the 18 war criminals who had died over 5 years. Same patterns, same methods. All of it was her. One human woman. Impossible. Fascinating. When his intelligence network informed him that a human contract worker had arrived on Draxel Prime and taken a job near Vex's estate. Kyne smiled. He knew who it was. And he knew what she was planning. He gave orders to his security teams. Watch her. Track her movements. But do not stop her. I want to see what she can do. Sir, his second officer said carefully. She is here to kill Commander Vex. Commander Vex is a fool who brings shame to the Empire. If this human can reach him through all his security, then he deserves what he gets. Besides, she won't succeed. No one can infiltrate that estate. But watching her try will be educational. Hannah spent 3 weeks studying the fortress. She watched the guard rotations, tracked the drone patterns, noted every delivery vehicle and service entrance. She made friends with other workers, learning gossip about who worked inside, who was corrupt, who could be bribed, One name kept coming up. Suho, a young communications officer. He was Draxel, but different from the others. He was quiet, kept to himself, didn't treat the human workers like dirt. Some of the workers said he was soft. Too weak for military service. Hana decided to take a risk. She needed help from inside. Suho might be that help. She found him one evening at a small food station near the military complex. He was alone, eating quietly while reading something on his datapad. Hana approached and sat down across from him. He looked up, surprised. She held up her own datapad with a message already typed. Your sister's name was Mira. She spoke out against the new Inchin massacre. She disappeared 2 years ago. Suho's eyes went wide. Fear and pain flashed across his face. Who are you? How do you know about her? Hana typed. I know because I make it my business to know about people who stood up for what is right. Your sister was brave. She tried to stop the killing. They made her disappear for it. You need to leave, Suho said quietly. If anyone hears you talking about this, they will kill you. They will kill both of us. I am here to kill Commander Vex. He ordered the new Inchin massacre. He ordered the deaths of 12,000 people, including my parents. I need your help to reach him. Suho stared at her. You're her. The ghost from the station. I saw the footage. Everyone saw it. Hana nodded. You're insane. Vex's estate is a fortress. Even if you got inside, you would never get out alive. She typed, I don't plan to get out. I just plan to finish what I started. They will execute you. They will make it public. They will use you as an example. Then help me make sure I succeed before they do. Suho looked at her for a long time. She could see him struggling with the decision. Finally, he spoke. Myra was my older sister. She raised me after our parents died. She taught me that honor means standing up for what is right. Then, when it's dangerous. Even when everyone else is silent. He pulled out his own datapad and transferred a file to hers. Building schematics. Security codes. Updated as of yesterday. The weak point is the detention level. There's a service tunnel that the guards use to move between sections. If you could get yourself arrested and placed in detention, you could access that tunnel. Why are you helping me? Because my sister would have. And because I am tired of being part of an empire that murders innocents and calls it strength. He stood up. But you should know something. Admiral Kine knows you are here. He is watching you. I don't know what his plan is, but he is fascinated by you. Be very careful. Then he walked away, leaving Hana alone with the schematics and a new problem. If Kine was watching, then her time was limited. She needed to move fast. The next night, Hana made her move. She deliberately triggered a security alert near the estate, making sure she was seen on cameras. Within minutes, Draxel soldiers surrounded her. She didn't fight. She let them take her, let them search her, let them throw her into a detention cell. Exactly as planned. In his command center, Kine watched the arrest with interest. She wants to be captured. Clever. She is going to try to reach Vex from inside his own fortress. Should we stop her, Admiral? Kine leaned back in his chair. No, let's see how far she can get. Alert the fortress security that she is dangerous, but do not tell them who she is. I want to see this play out. In her cell, Hana closed her eyes and began to meditate. Tomorrow, Vex would demand to see her. He would want to gloat, to show his prize to his supporters. That would be her chance. Her only chance. She thought of Tai Yang, of his lessons, of his belief in her. She thought of her parents, of New Inchin, of all the people who died because someone like Vex was allowed to live. Tomorrow, it would end. One way or another. They came for Hana at dawn. 6 guards, fully armed, treating her like she was a dangerous animal. They put restraints on her wrists and ankles, checked her 3 times for weapons, then dragged her through the fortress corridors. Vex was waiting in his trophy room. It was a massive chamber filled with items he had taken from conquered worlds, weapons, flags, art, pieces of cultures he had helped destroy. In the center of the room, mounted on the wall, was a crystal sculpture from New Incheon. Hannah recognized it. It had stood in the colony's main square. Thousands of people had walked past it every day. Now it was just another trophy for a monster. Vex smiled when he saw her. The ghost. Finally caught. Do you know how much trouble you have caused me? The Galactic Council is investigating my record. Trading partners are asking questions. All because of you. Hannah said nothing. She just looked at him with calm, steady eyes. I am going to execute you publicly, Vex continued. Broadcast across the galaxy. The human ghost brought low. A reminder that your species is weak, no matter what tricks you learn. He walked closer. But first, I want to know. How many? How many of my soldiers did you kill before you came here? Hannah couldn't respond verbally. Her hands were bound, but she held up her fingers. First one hand, 5, then the other, 5, then both again. 5 more, 15. She had killed 15 soldiers just to reach him. Vex laughed. Impressive. For a human. But you failed. I am alive. You are captured. Your silence saved nothing. Behind him, a door opened. Suho entered, carrying a tray with food and water. He was trying to look like a normal servant, but his eyes met Hannah's for just a moment. A warning. Be ready. Vex waved him away. Leave it and go. Suho set down the tray near Hannah and bowed. As he passed her, something small fell from his sleeve onto the floor behind her. Then he was gone. Your execution is scheduled for tomorrow evening, Vex said. Until then, enjoy my hospitality. This room will be your cell. He turned to his guards. Watch her. If she moves wrong, shoot her. The guards pushed Hannah to the floor and locked her restraints to a metal ring embedded in the stone. Then they took positions around the room. Vex left, laughing. Hannah waited. She counted seconds, then minutes, building a mental map of the guards' patrol pattern. They were disciplined, but bored. They didn't think a small human woman, chained and helpless, could be a threat. After 2 hours, she made her move. She had been working on the restraints since they locked her down, using a technique Taiyang had taught her. The locks were complex, but not impossible. Just difficult and painful. Her thumb dislocated with a soft pop that she didn't let show on her face. The restraint slipped off. Then the other hand. Then the ankle locks. It took another 30 minutes, moving so slowly that the guards never noticed. Behind her, within reach now, was the object Suho had dropped. A small cutting tool, powerful enough to slice through metal. She palmed it carefully. Then she waited for the guard rotation. 4 guards left, 2 stayed. The moment the door closed, Hannah moved. She was up and behind the first guard before he could shout. The cutting tool sliced through his weapon's power cell, and it died in his hands. She swept his legs, and he fell. The second guard turned, raising his rifle, but Hannah was already there. She used the guard's own momentum against him, redirecting his weapon toward the ceiling. His shot went wild. 15 seconds. Both guards down. Not dead, just unconscious. Hannah took one of their weapons and moved to the door. According to Suho's schematics, the service tunnel he mentioned was 3 corridors away, past 2 security checkpoints and a guard station. It should have been impossible to reach. But Hannah had learned a long time ago that impossible was just another word for difficult. She moved through the fortress like water, through cracks. When guards patrolled, she was in the shadows. When cameras turned, she was in blind spots. When doors were locked, she found ventilation shafts. Every lesson Tai Yang taught her, every skill she had learned in 15 years of hunting, she used now. Alarms started blaring. They had found the unconscious guards. The fortress went into lockdown. Hundreds of soldiers poured into the corridors, searching for her. But Hana was already gone, already moving through the walls, already hunting. Admiral Kine watched the chaos from his command center. Incredible. She has taken down 12 guards, bypassed 30 security systems, and she is getting closer to Vex with every minute. All of this while the entire fortress is hunting her. Sir, should we intervene? Not yet. I want to see how this ends. Vex was in his private chambers, surrounded by his personal guard. 20 soldiers, the best the Empire had. Automated weapons covered every entrance. Motion sensors blanketed the room. He felt safe. Then the lights went out. Report. Vex shouted. Power has been cut, Commander. Backup systems engaging in 3 seconds. The backup lights flickered on. And Hana was standing in the center of the room, between Vex and his guards. She had dropped through a ventilation shaft that shouldn't have been accessible, using the 3 seconds of darkness to position herself perfectly. Kill her. Vex screamed. The guards opened fire. But Hana was already moving. She rolled behind a heavy table, using it as cover. The guards advanced, trying to flank her. She waited until they were close, then erupted upward. She moved through them like a ghost made solid, striking with precision that seemed impossible. Knees, throats, pressure points. Each strike perfectly placed. They were trained soldiers. She was one woman. But she had something they didn't. She had 15 years of pain and rage and loss, channeled into pure, focused violence. One by one, they fell. Vex ran for the door, but Hana was faster. She put herself between him and escape. They stood facing each other, hunter and prey, in a room full of unconscious soldiers. Vex pulled a knife, his last weapon. You cannot win. Even if you kill me, you will die here. My empire will hunt every human. Your Earth will burn. Hana pulled out her datapad, somehow still intact despite everything. She typed with one hand while watching him with unblinking eyes. Then let it burn. As long as you burn first. She set the datapad down and pressed play. The video from New Incheon began to play. The screams. The fire. The massacre. Her parents calling her name in the moments before they died. Stop that, Vex said. Turn it off. Hana stepped forward. Vex slashed with his knife, but she caught his wrist, twisted, and the knife clattered away. She forced him to his knees, made him face the screen where his crimes played out in brutal detail. I don't want to see this, he said, and for the first time there was fear in his voice. The door exploded inward. Admiral Kine entered with a squad of elite soldiers. They surrounded Hana, weapons raised. Fascinating performance, Kine said. You took down 30 guards, infiltrated a fortress, and you did it all while being hunted. Humans are more capable than we believed. Kill her. Vex shouted. Kine looked at Vex with cold eyes. Commander Vex, you are an embarrassment to the Empire. You committed war crimes and brought shame to our military. Then you allowed a single human to make you look like a fool. He turned to Hana. I offer you a choice. Join us, become a weapon for the Empire, or die here. Hana picked up her datapad. She typed slowly, carefully. I would rather die than serve murderers. Kine nodded. I expected that answer. It is unfortunate. You would have been useful. He raised his hand to give the order. Then the walls exploded. Special Forces soldiers poured through the breach, wearing Earth military armor. At their head was Minji, carrying an official warrant. Admiral Kine, by order of the Interstellar Justice Commission and the Earth Defense Force, you are to stand down immediately. Kine's soldiers raised their weapons. The Earth soldiers did the same. For a moment, war hung in the balance dock, and Kine smiled. You came all the way to Draxel Prime to rescue one woman. That is either very brave or very stupid. She's not just one woman, Minji said. She's one of ours. And Earth protects its own. Behind her, more soldiers appeared. Then more. A full company, armed and ready. They had come through secret tunnels that Suho had revealed, tunnels that the fortress security didn't know existed. Kine calculated odds and possibilities. Then he lowered his hand. Interesting. Very well. Take your ghost and leave. But know this, Agent Minji. This incident will have consequences. So will New Inshin, Minji replied. She looked at Vex, still kneeling on the floor. Commander Vex, you are under arrest for war crimes. This time, there will be no escape. 2 soldiers grabbed Vex and dragged him away. He screamed about diplomatic immunity, about the Empire's wrath, about revenge. But his voice faded as they took him into custody. Minji walked over to Hannah and helped her up. You complete idiot. You almost died. Hannah typed on her datapad, but I didn't. The Earth government has officially sanctioned your actions. They're creating a special division for hunting war criminals who escape justice. They want you to lead it. I work alone. Not anymore. You've inspired people, Hannah, other survivors, other people who want justice. They need a leader. Hannah was quiet for a long moment. Then she typed, I will think about it. They left the fortress together, Earth soldiers surrounding them. Behind them, Admiral Kine watched them go. He had learned something valuable today. Humans were not weak. They were not soft. They were something far more dangerous. They were persistent. They remembered. And they never, ever gave up. 3 months later, Hannah stood in front of a memorial wall on Earth. The wall held 12,000 names, every person who died at New Inshin. She found her parents' names and placed 2 paper cranes at the base of the wall. Then she placed a 3rd crane. For herself. For the girl who died that day and the hunter who was born. Her datapad buzzed. A message from Minji. Another war criminal had been spotted on a trading station near Jupiter. The new team was ready to move if Hannah was. Hannah looked at the names one more time. Then she typed a simple reply, I'm ready. She walked away from the memorial, just another quiet woman in a crowded city. No one looked at her twice. No one saw the hunter beneath the surface. That was exactly how she wanted it dot in the Draxel Empire. Admiral Kine sat in his office, studying reports of increased human military activity. They were building something new. A special division. Hunters who operated in the shadows, going after criminals that traditional law couldn't touch. He pulled up the file on Liana one more time and watched the footage from his fortress. The way she moved. The way she never gave up. The way she turned silence into a weapon. Humans, he said to himself. Fascinating creatures. I wonder what they will do next. On dozens of worlds and hundreds of places. War criminals who thought themselves safe began to feel something they hadn't felt in years. Fear. Because somewhere out there, in the darkness between stars, a ghost was hunting. A mute woman who never forgot, who never forgave. Who would find them, no matter how far they ran? And when she found them, they would learn the truth that Vex learned too late. Silence can be the most terrifying sound of all.